It is week number 9 for Dana White's Contender series. And guys, we went 5-0 last week. So, round of applause for all of us here at the channel, myself, and all of you who followed those picks. So, 5-0, that was fantastic. Those who were on the Patreon, which you can find a link to that in the description of this, you cashed 3 bets. We placed 3 bets. You cashed all 3 of them. So, there we go. That was fantastic. Now, we're done tooting our own horns. We're going to break down the fights here for week number 9 because we've only got this one and then one more to go. One more week after this one. I'm sad it's almost over. I feel like it's gone far too fast, but here we are. Now, when we look at our matchup today, here we have a 155-pounder where Kody Steele gets another shot because earlier this season he was scheduled to fight and his opponent just said, nah, like he was in the back and he was like, nah, man, I'm not doing that. I can't fight this guy. I don't want to fight this guy. I'm nervous. He's having like an anxiety attack or something like that, I think they said. I don't know exactly what all went down, but I know that he didn't fight and Kody Steele didn't have an opponent. And although Steele, seems like a guy that the UFC wants, instead of just bringing him straight into the UFC, they decided, hey, let's get you back on the Contender series. We got a spot for you on week 9. And that's what happened. They got him fighting Chasen Blair in this matchup, which I think is a good fight. This is an interesting fight. Both guys are primarily grapplers, and I think that's going to make for a fun matchup. Now, when we look at these two, Steele is undefeated at 6-0, obviously 5-0 in the last 5. 6-2 for Blair, about 4-1 in the last 5. Now, interesting fight. The 6-2, automatically, for whatever reason, your brain sees that. It's like, oh, that's a bad record. It's not a bad record. That's fine. 6-2 is fine. But 4-1 in the last 5, it's pretty good. He's had 2 more fights than Steele. What if Steele had 2 more fights and he happened to lose both of them? They'd have the same record. So it's not like they both have the same number of wins is what I'm getting at. 6-2 just for some reason looks bad to our mind's eye. When we look at this fight, Chasen Blair, he's a very solid grappler. He's got good takedowns and excellent top pressure. The thing that I like the best about him, I would say, is his submission attacks. He is very fast. He goes for those quick. You don't necessarily see it coming. It's not one where you're like, oh, he's working for the submission. Oh, he's got it. He's almost locked in. Oh, there's the submission. It's, oh, wow, did he just sub that guy? That's more what it's like. He's very quick. He's got very solid transitions. On the mat, Chasen Blair is very, very skilled. In the striking department, he's okay, decent. His grappling threat really sets it up. He's got good power and a heavy 1-2. But he is wide open for counters. He does leave himself open there. That can be a problem for him. But he's definitely predominantly a grappler. Now, when we look at Kody Steele, similar. He's definitely predominantly a grappler. He's got solid takedowns and the mat returns. If you get back up, he's pulling you right back down. And he's doing it in such a way that you just can't get a break from it. So there is that. Excellent back taker, and he can take your back either on the mat or up against the cage, and he does such a good job with it. So that's something that you like to see from Steele. In the striking department, he's a pretty good striker. For a guy that's predominantly a grappler, there's some things I really like. He has basic combinations. And when I say it, I'm going to tell you again. I've also said it in one of the other breakdowns this week. Basic combinations isn't a bad thing. It means he sticks to the meat and potato style of striking. These are the combinations that work. He sticks to the basics, but he does them well. That's what I mean. I don't mean basic as in like it's a bad thing. It's a good thing. Just the way that he does it are basic combinations. He's not doing crazy, flashy stuff. That's what I'm saying. I love the dirty boxing from Steele. I think that's probably his best thing on the feet is this dirty boxing. Gets into the almost into the clinch, but not quite into the clinch, and just kind of works you up right there. You can kind of fade between clinch and kind of in that really in tight boxing range. Does a great job with it. And he will strike to set up his takedowns, which not a lot of people do. He'll throw the hands and then shoot right in and change levels. He's open to counters as well when he throws hooks specifically. The rest of his punches, no. But when he gets in there and he just starts throwing these hooks, he just leaves himself wide open. So both guys are open to be countered. Here's what I see happening here. And this one's probably the second most difficult fight on this card to predict. So bear with me on this. I do think this is a good fight, a close fight, a very tough one to call. But I think when you have 2 really solid grapplers, oftentimes we see it come down to the striking. I think if this one comes down to the striking, what we're going to get is Kody Steele dirty boxing him up on the inside, and I think he's going to be able to win the fight using that dirty boxing style. So I'm going to go with Kody Steele. But the kicker here is if Kody Steele goes in there and starts throwing those big hooks, and then Blair catches him with a big old shot, he can probably put him on his butt and either get the finish or, win the round, win a decision by getting those counter shots in there. If he has him up against the cage and he's kind of going for it, and then he just gets caught with a counter. So I can see that happening, but I do think Kody Steele is probably going to be. Like I said, I always do these videos before the odds come out, so I don't really know what the odds are. But Kody Steele is probably going to be a favorite. for two reasons. One, he's undefeated, but two, people are familiar with the name because he was already set to fight once this Contender Series. Here he is again. I do think he wins. I think it's a close fight, though, and I would not be surprised if Chasen Blair pulls it off. So we're going Kody Steele in this one. Let me know what you have in the comments below. Like the video while you are down there, and if you haven't already, check out the rest of the videos in the playlist. There are 5 of them. It's 5-fight Contender Series, so check all those out, and I will see you in one of those.